Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about blue-green deployments and how we can use them in conjunction with Istio to deploy new versions of our application. So what we have here right now is a PHP portal that I developed. Is the version 1 of my portal. So what I will do next is I'm going to very quickly just commit a new code. So I'm just going to jump into my index.php file and I'm going to change version 1 of my portal for version 2. I'm going to add these changes. I'm going to commit. Let's just give it a name, version 2, and let's push it to our GitLab repository, okay, which is going to take a few seconds. So after we do the push, basically we should have the updates here for our Istio PHP project, and we should be able to see that our index.php file was updated just a few seconds ago. Okay, so from here we can see index.php version 2 25 seconds ago. This eventually is going to trigger our Jenkins pipeline. The webhook already kicked in, so within a few seconds we should be able to see that I check out the code from my GitLab repository. I conducted a PHP unit test for my source code. Then I will proceed to build my container image. I'm going to log in into my Harbor repository, push the image into my repo, and then it's going to deploy into the green deployment. It's going to do a very quick traffic check. So basically we want to split the traffic. For this demo, I'm going to use 50% of the traffic going to the blue deployment and 50% will go to the new version 2 deployment, which is sitting on the green environment. Then Selenium will do some functional test just to make sure that our application functionality is there in the green environment. And before we deploy to production, it's going to basically ask us whether we are happy with the green deployment. So it's going to be a manual approval before we deploy to blue. So the pipeline in a nutshell is going to be looking something like this. So we have here, I'm going to commit in the code. It goes into my GitLab repo. Jenkins triggered the pipeline via webhook. We did the PHP unit test, which is the one that we saw in the Jenkins pipeline. I'm storing into Harbor. Eventually it will deploy into the green environment. Istio is going to split the routes. So if we check the routing now on Kiali, we should be able to see that 100% of my traffic is currently going to the blue deployment, which is production. Okay, from here we can see about 100%. All the traffic is actually going to the green environment already. Okay, so obviously it's still deploying on my Jenkins pipeline. So what's going to happen next after we do the green deployment is going to perform some traffic check. So we should be able to see within a few seconds that in Kiali the traffic split is taking place. And then Selenium is going to be the tool that we will be using for our functional test. So we are in this stage already, performing functional test. So once we are happy with the test, Jenkins is going to issue the question whether we want to deploy to production. So ideally, we would be waiting probably for a couple of hours to see the behavior of the application in the green environment, whether they are end user complaints about this green environment. And once we are happy, we can proceed to deploy into the blue environment, which is production. And then Istio is going to route 100% of our traffic to the blue environment. Okay, let's have a look at this pipeline. Let's see how this one is going. Okay, so from here we can see that Selenium is still in progress, but if we jump into Kiali, we should be able to see the traffic split already. So it's taking place here. It's supposed to be 50-50, so not exactly 50-50, but we can see that there is already some traffic that is being routed to our green environment. Okay, let's just wait for our Selenium test to be over. It's going to take probably a couple more seconds. While we wait for the Selenium test to finish, let me show you our Rancher environment, which is the one in which our containers are running. So I have here this Rancher Kubernetes engine running, and if we jump to the namespaces, we should be able to see my PHP Istio namespace. So if we see this tiny boat here, it means that it's Istio capable. So basically we are leveraging on Istio to perform this blue-green deployment. So what this means, let's just quickly jump into our namespace and let's have a look at the pods that we have running there. Okay, so if we take a look at our PHP Istio, let's have a look at the blue environment, which is our version 1 of the application. So from here, we are able to see that we have one pod running. Let's have a look at what exactly we have inside this pod. We have two containers actually. We have PHP Safe Blue, which is the container holding my application code, and we also have Istio Proxy, which is basically the envoy taking all the traffic coming through Istio. Okay, let's have a look to our pipeline one more time. Selenium test was completed. So the Selenium test basically is just probing whether the green environment is up and running and whether it's grabbing the changes of our application. Okay, and if we do a refresh on this website, we should be able to see that some of the traffic is going to the blue environment and some of the traffic is actually going to the green environment. Okay, we can see here that version number 2 is currently running in our green environment. Okay, and the traffic split is taking place. If I refresh again, is going to version 1. Okay, so I think that we are pretty much happy with this deployment. So we can go back to our Jenkins and we can say that yes, we can proceed to the deployment into the blue environment. Once we do this, then the pipeline is basically going to finish deploying into the blue environment, and 100% of the traffic is going to be routed to the blue environment. So we should be able to see now version 2 running on blue the next time I do a refresh. Let's just give it a try. There you go. We have version 2 already, and all the traffic is pretty much just going to our version 2 deployment. We should be able to double check as work from Piali. We can see that the traffic is starting to go down from the green deployment. Eventually this will be 0. Right now it's about 4%. And finally 100% of our traffic is going through the blue deployment, which is production. And this is how the pipeline concludes. Thank you so much for watching.